Humam Abdulmalik, once again, before the sun rises, with Blackanized, international Nubian consciousness, conscious chess moves for the beginning of the day to motivate, stimulate, and agitate in order to unify, organize, and develop an infrastructure and purify our temples to connect to the divine energy that runs through the universe to the universe. First, we must start with ourselves and reach out to family and community and the world. We must do this because there's a war going on, a silent war that's being perpetrated against us. Not just beginning now in this political climate, but been going on for generation after generation through this supportitious bloodline that be behind the curtain, so to say, of the political arenas that supposed to be the governments of us. We have to deal with our situation holistically and politically, culturally, and spiritually, educationally also, and it's all interconnected to establish this unity, this synergy that we need as a people in order to counter this attack that's so subtle that we don't even be aware of it, those of us who are not. We have to understand that everything is interconnected. Information, news, school is all perpetrating this system that we're in and under. And that if we don't realize that we're in a paradigm of detriment, then we're going to be a victim of it, continuously be victimized by it. And a lot of it comes from our own hand because we've been programmed to do such by design, and we don't realize it. A lot of our young warriors will be under robot control, lose their soul to the predatory nature that is in us that we can overcome when we develop ourselves, the animalistic nature that we got to rise up from within ourselves to that spiritual divine essence that we have within ourselves, within this temple, the divine energy of the source of all life, the one divine universal creator. We give names and define as Allah, Jah, Jehovah, whatever we do as that. But that energy that we worship or we give reverence to, whatever name we may call it, if it's not bringing us together as a people, then we're doing something wrong, or it's not the correct energy that we should involve ourselves with, or the correct methodology that brings humanity together, bring us together as a people to unify and establish a foundation of harmony and peace. Every day we wake up and be blessed with that breath of life and that divine energy. We always, I don't know where my viewing people are from in the country or whatever, but I'm in DC, and every day there's, every day. I don't think a day went past that someone wasn't in an ambulance whose blood has bled out and who has left this realm for reasons that should be out of season because of a predatory or animalistic nature or lack of love, that someone lost their life. Like yesterday, I believe about 3 people lost their life in what? I mean, why? Like now, while we're talking, there's somebody thinking what they're going to do today, you know, plotting and planning to take somebody's life. And it begins with the thought, and we can't do that. We can't sell our souls to whatever mentality that's being rehearsed or orchestrated or whatever. We got to overcome that and fight against ourselves. We got to fight against a systematic exterior mechanism that is like developing those desires in us to keep that predatory nature, that animalistic nature, instead of connecting in our divine nature as a divine people, and stop dealing with that war, eternal war, that's externally manipulated for us to be partaking in. Because we don't bring the guns in our community. We don't bring the drugs in our community. Yeah, we buy the guns, we buy the drugs, but where does it come from? You know, where does the poppy plant come from? It all starts with that. The production of it, the delivery and distribution of it. It's a money maker. We know that. It's like a billion or $1 trillion industry, one of the biggest industries in this country. But why do we gotta partake of it when it hurts us? It's a ripple effect in our community. It's a overt operation against us in our community. We know that at once upon a time, the FBI brought the heroin market to the way it's supposed to be in our community to stop the movement of the 60s of the Black Panthers and the movement of revolutionary movement of unification. And then after that period, then the CIA brought cocaine into our communities to stop another movement, but allowing promoting another movement in another country against communism. No concern about us as citizens in this community or this nation of America, this corporation of America, the destruction that it brought about, no concern whatsoever. But they just put in fraudulent laws they bring in the drugs and the weapons to us in our community. Then they make laws to lock us up and give us time. Then they don't give us, they give us different time for powder and then crack cocaine. You know, so it's like the war is on all levels and it's perpetrated by those that make the laws. We got to realize that. That's why we got to come together, unify, and organize on a spiritual divine level as spiritual divine people, melanated people. And we have to deal with it from a perspective of African spirituality. We have to deal with sciences that deal with our nature, deal with us, uplifting us. And I always say, if you're practicing whatever you're practicing, Islam, Christianity, or whatever, Hebrew Israelite, or whatever you're practicing, if it's not bringing us together, then it's not doing the job. The creative energy is bringing us together in harmony and peace. As melanated people, as human beings, that is the purpose of worship and reverence of this energy, of this divine energy that we call whatever we call it, whatever a fig tree that we practice under. But it has to be bringing us together, because if it's not, it's a methodology of divide and conquer. That's what it's being used for if it doesn't bring us together. There's only one source. There's only one energy, source of that energy, the creator, the divine oneness where everything comes from. The moment of never and is all is from that source. Wherever, I need the definition of it can't be defined for my minute mind, you know. And whenever it does be or comes to me, then I can speak on it. And I'm just one who believes we can't define this energy. We just know it is. And we know that it is the purpose to bring us together because it's synergy. The frequencies and vibrations and energy is from one source. And we are part of it. And we gotta come together in love and peace and stop pulling the trigger on each other. That thought. Someone went to sleep last night with that thought. Someone is waking up this morning with that thought of taking a life for a reason that shouldn't be, when we are being manipulated to do so, when we should be together, joining forces, unifying, becoming stronger. Because if we're not, we're still going to be victims of our own situations that we don't stop and check ourselves. We don't question ourselves. We don't look in the mirror and ask ourselves why. Why are we going to take that action? Why are we going to promote death instead of life? Why are we going to do that? Ask yourself that question. Why you smoking that joint, drinking that beer, or drinking that liquor, you know, getting ready to make that negative move in that negative energy, and don't even know that you're being used, that you're under robot control by those who manipulate situations by social engineering, and it's all for to bring us down, keep us weighted down. And while that's going on, while that thought you got going on, right, to hurt somebody today, then they plotting and planning that, you know, to snatch somebody out of our community because we're not controlling our communities. We're not being observant in our community. And I want to, for 1 second, I want to say, Hotep, Ashe, peace, love to my beautiful sister, Riri Johnson, who's viewing. I would like to say peace, Hotep, Ashe to Vernon Montgomery, and to everybody else that might be viewing. In the spirit of love and elevation and motivation and stimulation to come together and join together in the synergy of peace and love and understanding, so we can develop that union, a divine union that we need as a people to elevate ourselves and come together and organize and develop an infrastructure, especially in this political climate that we're in. And I want to go back now and say, you know, about the part about us killing each other, and those people that's thinking about it, not only here in D.C., but every city in this country. Somebody's doing that. Somebody got the thought today. They went to sleep with that thought. I'm going to get that nigga, or I'm that nigga, you know. For what? We say, our young youth or young adults always say, I'm in the street, I'm doing this because I got to eat. It's the way we eat. We come together. We live within our means. We just gotta become content and not be manipulated for materialism. If we come to a spiritual essence in ourselves and live in harmony and peace in this, the God energy, that universal energy that's in this temple, then we can come together in a right way. We can overcome the manipulation of these people that's controlling this situation in this political climate. From the emperor that's in the seat, in his cabinet of racists, I just gotta say it, demonic mentalities that trying to manipulate our realities wherever we be in this country, because it's a corporation and it's all interconnected, and they have their agenda and plan to keep us in a certain environment or predicament. But we got to rise up. We got to change our thoughts. We got to come out of that program. We got to open up into the natural divine essence that's in us. And we got to stop dealing with the five senses and overcoming pleasure principle, immediate gratification. We gotta, we want it right now type attitude. We got to develop the need and the attitude to work for what we get. We gotta come together in harmony and peace, and in the same time, it's power, peace, power, and love. As a people, we have to have this for ourselves and our community. Beginning with ourselves, our community, and nation, then worldwide. We got to connect worldwide because it's a worldwide pandemic. The same people that's doing what they're doing here under this system is all interconnected. We have different governments and all that, but they got the same aim and purpose: to keep us down as a people, not only here, but in Africa, where all the minerals at and all that. We're connected with those people with that energy, but they keep us separated from that. And they say that those people don't like us, and then they program us to not to like them. But we're one and the same. Only thing is different is the language. And we got to come together. We got to change our thoughts, especially this killing that's going on in our communities. It got to stop. We're killing each other by somebody else's hand or plan. We at war, and we neighbors. We right around the corner from each other, know each other, grew up together and all that. It can't be that bad, whatever somebody done to take their life. Then you cause a ripple effect. See, but it don't even start there. It starts with the individuals that it stems from drugs, right? If we taking drugs, right, then we causing our own problem, because we probably don't have the job to get the money for the drugs. Then we got to do something, steal or rob to get the drugs. So therefore, either we're going to get locked up, caught, beat up, whatever. Or we sell drugs and don't get the money. Then we get beat up, robbed, or killed. Then we be at war with each other because of drugs. And we stop taking drugs. We take drugs out of our community. Then we ain't got to deal with that issue. We ain't got to have the slave catchers in our community. We be the ones to control our community. Even alcohol, they got liquor stores on every corner. It's all business though, right? But not the right business for us as a people to grow and develop in a divine nature, in our divine nature. Man, I'm not discouraged though, at all. Because I know this energy, this divine energy. See, I ain't no better than nobody. I'm just one body that I have submitted to the divine decree on the pathway of my ancestors. And I know that when we open up to this energy, we all come into this collective synergy of being unified. And once we become unified, we can organize in our communities and everything, and to develop an infrastructure with the structure that's already here. But then we collaborate and communicate to unify, and we develop businesses and all that. We got to, our youth, there's a lot of them that's, on the road or the path of greatness or success. We got to keep uplifting them. And we got to go reach our young adults that's, bitter and don't have the love that they need. We got to reach them too. We got to help them change some thoughts, the mentality. It's our job as a people. We can't be fearful of them. We got our elders and all that fearful or whatever because of our young adults. We got to break that negative energy and establish positive energy so we can come together in harmony. So our elders won't be fearful to walk in the streets. So our little children walk in the streets and feel safe. We got to feel safe from each other first and foremost. Then we we got to protect our youth because a lot of our youth are coming up missing because of big business for body parts, melanin, sex range, or whatever. But we know these things. We got to be more protected of these things because all of us are part of the war that's going on against us, and it's been going on. And we got to do this without ulterior motives, without being arrogant, egotistic, or self-centered. We got to be sincere. We got to study ourselves. We got to read. We got those who don't know how to read or something. We got to help them read, and those that don't know how to read, we got to want to learn how to read. Whatever our negative, we got to uplift ourselves to become positive. We got to reach out to those that we know can help, and we got to be willing to help those who need help. We got to all get on the equal playing field, because this is how they manipulate us, by making us think that we better than somebody and we got more than somebody or whatever. It ain't even about that. It's about the spirituality. It's about the understanding the divine nature that we have. And, you know, some of us might have a little more than others or whatever. That's not even important. That's a manipulation tool, you know, to keep up with the Joneses. Sometimes we got to just deal with what our hands call for. And what it calls for is us to unify and come together in a collective so that we be able to help each other. You know, no matter what we got, we be helping each other in collaboration and unification. And I speak as an individual doing or trying to do collective things. And my only thing is, see, I'm not a celebrity. I don't have a lot of money, but my wisdom and my insight, what I have, is of a divine nature, because that's what I was given by a divine decree. And this is what I proclaim. And this is how I live my life. My words of wisdom and my heart, my mind, I give out to uplift. If it's just a moment, if I just can stop and talk to somebody for a moment and we have a conversation of upliftment, then I'm doing my job. You know, if I can change a heart or change a mind, then I'm doing my job as this divine agent of the Creator, of my people, of love for my people, of African spirituality. See, we got to go black to the future to have an effect upon the now, because tomorrow will be the past. So if we don't have an effect upon it now by getting information that's going to make us better and greater, knowing who we really are as a people, that they don't want us to know who we are because we are the original people, indigenous here in this America, Aborigines, anywhere on the planet Earth. And everything that they have, they stole from us. We gave birth to theology, the concept of the Creator. That comes from us, the sciences, everything. Then they change things around and they say that it's evil, and we look at it and we back off from it. But all African spirituality, when we had it, when it was in our hands, it was for healing, purpose of healing. I'm talking about voodoo, judo, whatever we do. It was for healing, or witches or whatever. But see, they didn't understand the healing, that we can take herbs and heal ourselves. And back then, they were scared of it. And today is about money, you know, medical and industrial complex. They don't want us to heal ourselves, preventive medicine. They want curative medicine so we can keep coming back to them. The same thing with the prison industrial complex. It's the only way that our youth or anybody become slaves in this day, according to the 13th Amendment. The Emancipation Proclamation supposed to got away, made us free or come out of that state of mentality, because we were never slaves or niggas. Because a slave is one who submits to that and have somebody validate him. We was under condition where we got beat, raped, robbed, burnt, lynched, and all that. But it was those of us who didn't submit. You can only be a slave if you submit to that and let somebody validate you as a slave. And the nigga is them. We niggas, or niggas T. We kings or queens of ancient empires. And the nigger is the one that was lazy and shiftless and all that, according to their definition. So if we work from sun up to sundown in that captivity they call slavery, and they sat on a porch and did nothing, who is the nigger? So I don't let anybody validate me. I don't care who it is. I'm not going to let them validate me, because natural common sense tells me I'm not a nigger according to their definition. We got to not let people validate us. We got to be strong in our conviction. We got to know who we are. As I say, I can say black people or African American, a descendant of Africa, or African. However I say it, but it's about melanin, about this hue right here. I am a human being, and I accept that. I'm a divine human being, energetic human being. And I'm interconnected to this energy. It's a powerful energy that's in me. And all I have to do is submit to it, and I'll rise up. And rising up, I'll be connected to the divine energy. It makes me, as an individual, more powerful when I'm in a collective energy. When my perception of things is not just the five senses. It's beyond the five senses, because I was blessed to... People say your third eye or whatever. That happened. I felt the energy coming to me, and my perception was enhanced or whatever. And in my studies, I've studied a lot, and I'm very articulate in our culture. See, I'm not going to let them deculturetize me. I'm not going to let them validate me. And I'm talking about this system, this American system that is a corporation of England, and that is a cultural state, so DC, London, and the Vatican. And there's all the corporation. And we got to know that. We got to study. We got to study books. I was looking at my brother, Professor Griff, right? He was talking about principles, the Kibbalan. 7 principles, ancient principles. We got to get books and read so that we can understand what's going on. If we can't read, we got to develop book clubs or information clubs or whatever. We got to, we just can't be manipulated by these videos and what we listen to on the radios and all that that's taking us away from ourselves with the frequencies and vibrations of, I say, nonsense. Because I don't see how some of these people get those contracts to make money. And it's 7 principles. Principles of mentalism, mental, correspondence, how you interact, vibrations, what you feel, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. And all these things was talked about in ancient times, and they apply in these days and times. That's this one aspect. My spiritual brother, Professor Griff, had a subject he was talking about yesterday on his Facebook Live or whatever. But we got to read and understand who we are. That's the only way that we gain that natural power. I say black power, melanated power, power of the people coming together, unified in love, peace, and understanding and harmony, and being real with each other, not with no ulterior motives, not being manipulative, not being arrogant and egotistic or self-centered like you better than somebody. Always I. No, it's us, we, so that we can become free, mentally free and spiritually free, and deal what we have to do in this manipulated war that's going on in our community with our young youth, our young adults. The killing must stop. We have to go reach our young brothers and talk to them. I mean, we're doing a lot of stuff and all that, but are we doing the right things? What do they want? If they want jobs, if they say they need to eat, create the jobs for them. Then we can build and mold a shape around that and see if that's the problem. We got to see the source of this problem in our communities. Because if we don't, we losing out. It's a ripple effect. You taking one person out or two or whatever that ain't gonna never be here no more. They have families, children that's gonna be affected by that. A mental effect, a spiritual effect of hate. They're gonna develop hate because of the laws of their parents. And all that's a ripple effect that these people want. We gotta come to our senses. We gotta stop it as a people. We gotta unify on the essence of love and peace. Take control of our communities. We don't need the police in our community, the slave catchers. And we gotta realize that, because we know more so than they know, because it's a job, but we live in our community, so we know what's going on and who's doing it, whatever. But we got to reach them with love and make them understand that they're being used and manipulated. It's another way to get money. They ain't got to be, I'm all this and I'm all that, and, I'm the kingpin. When you're not, you're being manipulated. I mean, there's a means and ways of getting the money or whatever, the popularity, but we don't need that because it's destructive. We need constructive uplifting of our community, and you're a very, very strong part of that. Our young warriors, they're who's at war, but they're strong and they're very knowledgeable. They just didn't tap into that natural divine perspective of themselves. And if they have, it's corrupted. Because if they have and they still doing what they're doing, then they practicing the wrong thing or the wrong aspect of their religion. And I was saying about books, I just want to show us some books that we got to read and, just to come, because it's about economics. And one of the best brothers on economics is the brother Claude Anderson, and it's one of his early books, Black Labor, White Wealth. We got to realize what's going on. We got to become economical free in our development. We got to understand that, the art of war. The art of war. We got to know that it's a war going on, but it's an art. We got to know that. We got to deal with that. We got to deal with the melanin, and we got to deal with books that's pertaining to melanin and knowing and understand what's melanin about. We got to understand what it's about. And the only way we understand, we got to go to the people, the masterminds or the scientists who are in that area. We got to understand relationships. We got to deal with books on relationships so that we can have better relationships with the queens and the kings coming together and having a divine relationship. We got to do that. The only way we can do it, we got to raise up in that, it got to become our culture and way of life. Here go another good book for our Islamic brothers, and they know it. It's Revolution by the book, person that Imam Alameen, H. Rap Brown, the people to know the revolutionary history of this country, was a great man. They locked him down on trumped up charges, and he's doing life in prison now for something he didn't do, but that's what they do with their fraudulent laws. Here's another strong brother, one of our ancestors, George Jackson. If you read a book in California Penal Institution, they'll lock you up. Anything by George Jackson. He was a great brother, a great revolutionary brother. Back in the day, he an ancestor. Then we got to read our culture and what's going on with it. The destruction of the black civilization. We got to read stuff like that so we'll know that these people that, or this system ain't just started for this deceptive destruction of us, but they've been going on for generations. Here's another. I say I'm a spiritual warrior, mystical warrior, warrior, priest, king, and a mystic, griot. It's about being a spiritual warrior. I'm anointed in the light of Christ, because Christ ain't nothing but a title. And another book to give us information on who we are. My Comedic Soulism, a great book. I was in love with this book. I fell in love with it. I'm telling you, I used to sleep, wake up and read this book. Slept with it. I didn't want to let it go. Here's another book about the foods we need to eat. Because the foods that we eat, they're taking seeds out of the food and creating foods in the laboratory, genetically modified foods. We need natural food and live foods because we're live people. And the reason I was showing you these books is because that's what we got to do. We got to get information so we can, and we got the Bible, we got the Quran, we got the Talmud, we got everything. We got to read esoteric stuff. We got to do everything to fortify. These are ammunitions. These are like bullets. These books are like bullets to fortify us in our deliberation, our articulation, or our speaking, or something like that. Peace, power, and love. These are my closing remarks. I apologize about that again, but they always say in a period of time, they say that my apparatus is overheating. I don't know why, but anyway, my closing remarks, I want to say that I love us. We must love ourselves. We must base our activities on love, peace, and harmony, and understanding of who we are. We must stop what's going on in our communities because we're the only ones that can stop it. And if we don't stop it, it won't be stopped. And I'm talking about the killings. Not only here in Washington, where each country on the planet Earth, but each city in the United States of hypocrisy. We have to stop it, and only we can stop it. And our young adults talking about we do this because we got to eat, we got to feed our families and all that. You ain't got to do it that way. You ain't got to commit a crime to feed our families. We don't have to commit a crime to feed our families. I definitely know what you're talking about because I come out that cesspool, that same attitude and disposition. But see, I acquired a PhD in striology from SWU. So I know what you're talking about because I went through it and I've been through it, but it's a change. A change got to come about. The only way that we can uplift ourselves and be a better people according to the divine decree of our ancestors, on the pathway of our ancestor. That if we can get a job and pool our resources, and not we want immediate gratification. And just do what we got to do as a people collectively. I mean, immediate gratification and getting like this. Oh, you know, what can I say? You know better than me. That thought that you got to kill somebody, to take somebody's life, or you thought about doing and all that, or somebody told you to do it or whatever, you have to change that. You got to change your heart. You're not a predator or the animalistic nature that's being manipulated to do these things. We got to stop. Person by person, community by community, city by city, because they want us to do this. They want us to kill each other, commit crimes, go to jail, where it's about business. The jails are for profit. They're dumbing down our children through all this, the music that they listen to, the videos they look at, even the self-made videos that we do on Facebook and Instagram or whatever, for what? Popularity, the stardom or whatever. But we got to come together as a people in the community to protect our youth that's getting snatched up for sex rings, body parts, or whatever. That's what we got to do, come together as a people, and we're going to be at war against the natural enemy. But start with yourself, with ourselves, and in this political climate especially. Because we don't know what's coming down, this tsunami or whatever, this political tsunami that's headed our way. We must be vigilant of that. And with that, I want to just say peace, love, and power. And when you go out today, for the sun, is the sun up yet? No, the sun ain't even up yet. We up before the sun up. So we are the light that comes from the light of the sun. It's shining bright in us. So let's be an example of that light, of that divine light, and reach somebody, touch somebody, tell somebody you love them, hug them, represent the power that we are as divine agents of the Creator on the pathway of our ancestors in all love and harmony and peace. I love you sincerely from the inner regions of my temple, from my heart and my mind, in the chambers of the pyramid of my mind, where all the minerals of the divine nature that I have in the collective, universal, this galaxy of everything that is and not, created by this created energy that puts us together in synergy, frequency, and vibration. Get to know thyself so that we can come together and lay to rest this deceptive energy that they promote in our community for us to be self-destructed. Let's overcome that and become the one, become the community. Let's develop Wall Streets once again. Let's unify, organize, and develop an infrastructure with peace, love, and justice for all of us melanated people. After we heal, then we can deal with everybody else, but we have to come into a healing with ourselves, come together in unity, in love and peace. Be peacemakers, not peace breakers. It's about that. Love y'all.